All right, it is that time, as Ren says on your show. It's about that time. It's that time. Roadmap. I'm just kidding. It's our own roadmap. So exciting news for you guys. You can see I'm with Mr. Ren Jones, who is the creator, founder, and CEO of Vulcan 7, the wonderful prospecting platform. He and Scott from his team flew into Detroit today. We had lunch. We had some time to do some masterminding over lunch, and now we're going to talk to you guys about how to become a strong listing agent. What does it take to become a top listing agent? And, you know, Ren and I were talking. I mean, Ren, if you guys didn't know, was a top listing agent for many, many years, selling over 150 homes a year for a long time.
Yeah.
He was a coach for a long time. And now, in my opinion, has created the best prospecting platform in the industry. And no, he didn't pay me to say that. So Ren, welcome, buddy. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. So we're going to just jump into it. How this is going to work. Jen's going to handle the questions that come in. So if you guys have questions, raise your Zoom hand. And so there's a little reactions button at the bottom of your screen. So as Ren and I are talking through different concepts, we want this to be engaging. You guys feel free to just raise your Zoom hand. Jen will bring you in off mute. You can discuss whatever questions, comments that you have that Ren and I are talking about, and we'd be glad to answer your questions. So Ren, why don't we go ahead and just jump into it? Why don't we talk about, you know, where does it start from an agent's perspective that they get into this business and they decide, okay, I want to be a listing agent, but I don't know how. Where does it start in your mind?
I think you shadow people that are doing it and get all the best practice. You go somewhere to get the best practices.
There you go.
Right here, best practices. And then you work through the list. Do this. And the first thing is having a schedule and a morning routine.
So let's break each one of these things down. So step number one is, if you want to build a strong business, and you recommend that people literally get on a plane and go shadow people, which a lot of you did that with me here in Detroit. Come here and shadow me for a day, or go shadow each other, go shadow a Keith Zimmer for a day down in Utah, and see what it's like, what a top listing agent does on a day-to-day basis that allows them to take one listing a week, two listings a week. So from there, I would make the argument, okay, now that I've shadowed somebody, I understand what it takes. And I think that's great advice, because I think sometimes people don't know what it takes. They've never seen the work ethic from a top listing agent. I make the argument, it starts with mindset. It starts with making a decision that come hell or high water, I'm going to focus on becoming a listing agent. Would you agree with that from a mindset perspective?
Absolutely. You have to make the declaration. You absolutely have to have that piece in place.
Yeah.
If the mind isn't there, nothing else is going to follow.
So they shadow somebody. They've got the right mindset. I want to give these guys tactics, strategies, and really get into the meat and potatoes of things. Okay. So where does one start in your opinion? They say, okay, Brandon, I'm ready to go. I shadowed Bernie Gallerini for a week. I've got the right mindset. I'm motivated. Where do I start? Where would you have someone start that's new to prospecting or new that wants to become a listing agent?
Okay. So they watched somebody, they watched them make calls, they wrote notes, they recorded it with their phone, a lot of the dialogues, and they're playing that over and over and over and over and over again. And now they're ready to start. They have to have a start time. What are they doing before the start time? What are they doing to prepare? What is the accountability piece or pieces?
Yeah.
A lot of accountability in order. So they'll do it on the days they don't feel like it. So consistency is the key. You have to be consistent. Monday, Tuesday. Nice thing about being a listing agent is it's a daytime weekday event.
Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when it comes to, I think what you're saying before making a phone call is having a pre-prospecting routine.
Right.
What are you doing that leads you up to making that first call?
Right. You know, whether you get up and you read something positive, you listen to something positive, you exercise, you have a good breakfast, you do a role play with somebody, meet somebody on the phone. They can also be an accountability partner. Go through some scripts and dialogues and get ready and practice what you're getting ready to do. It's an induction.
Yeah.
And then you go live. And then I always had an alarm that would go off 10 minutes before start time,
I love that.
10 till 8. I go, oh, 10-minute warning. So I was like, because if you get distracted, which we do,
Yeah.
you could be, oh, it's 20 after 8. I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to go on the air at 8 o'clock because we know how important 8 o'clock is on some of these. And then the alarm goes off 10 minutes. Okay, I got 10 minutes to get ready. 5 minutes, 4 minutes, and then you go live.
Yeah.
And then you have somebody that you're meeting later, or there are a lot of Zoom calls. There are a lot of Zoom calls now. It used to be Google Hangouts, where agents are all together watching each other prospect to hold each other accountable.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, they're like, if Keith gets up to use the restroom or something, and they don't see him for a couple minutes, Keith, where are you? Get back on the phone.
That's right.
So, and you watch other people and you can listen in on what they're doing and you get excited because they're doing what you're doing. It's sort of like going to the gym, 14 people on a treadmill, you'll stay on there longer. If your treadmill is down by the laundry, the washer and dryer, you're not going to use it very often.
Yeah.
But if you're in there with 14 other people, you'll probably go every day.
Now, and again, I want to make sure that we don't miss anything. We really break this down. So we talk a lot about, you and I, the last time we did this on your show, we talked about how important getting good sleep is, how important tracking your sleep with something called an Aura ring, which we're going to talk about in a second. The cold shower.
Yeah.
Because
Wim Hof. Yeah,
that's right. Because I think people are underestimating the amount of energy and effort it takes to win in this business at a very, very high level. Yeah. Like if you're going out and partying your ass off and drinking alcohol and staying up late and not taking care of your mind or your body, do you think that someone can, well, I guess the point is it'd be very difficult for them to have the stamina it takes to prospect and win.
Well, it's worse than that, Brandon. They were up Sunday night working. They had a midnight deadline on a contract because they're working with a buyer.
Yeah.
And how good are you going to be Monday morning?
That's right. You're gonna be tired.
So you need to find out what you're going to do with your buyers, because if you all of a sudden get traction, you list 5, 6, 7 houses, then they sell their house and they have nowhere to live, and you're gonna say, oh, they're buying. I sold the $300,000 house and they're buying a $900,000. I'm not gonna let somebody else handle that. I want 100% of it. Yeah, but guess what? Then you stop doing what made you successful, and you spend 3 weeks working with that just to save the other half of that commission.
Yeah. So that's key. So when we were at lunch, you said something to me. You said when you were able to sell 150 plus homes, you had 2 people handling the buyers.
Yeah.
And same thing for me. So Jen is here. Ren just got introduced to Jen on my team, not the Jen you guys see on Zoom. We've got another Jen who handles all of my buyer business, every single buyer, whether it be brother, sister, mom, or dad. I'm not going to work with a buyer, period, right? Because to Ren's point, the second you take a listing and exactly what Ren said, they have to buy a house. If you don't have a strong pipeline, if you don't have a strong mindset, and you have not decided that you're going to be a listing agent, you are going to fall victim to working with that buyer because you want and you're so needy for the commission. And so what we have to do is make a decision, but you've got to have a place for those buyers to go. So that might be another agent in your office. That might be a newer agent that you're mentoring. That could be a showing assistant. That's somebody you're paying, maybe $50 or $100 per showing. You still handle the offers. But at some point, you're going to have to make a decision, Arthur and Tracy and all of you guys, because the problem is the second you have a buyer that calls you and says, I want to go look at this house, and it's a $600,000 house, a lot of us do what? We drop everything and we go see the buyer immediately, whether it be in our prospecting block or not. So this mindset that we're talking about is the start. Now, to transition into kind of the next steps, let's talk about scripts and dialogues and approach, okay? And I think that this is probably one of the only industries where we call each other professionals, but we spend very little time in practice, very little time in practice. Yet, when we're in the game, because I hear this from all of you, every Monday, every Thursday's coaching call, here's what I hear. I lost out to another agent. I didn't know what to say. Brandon, what do I say? What do I do? This tells me that we spend very little time in practice. From your experience, how much time, if someone's going to win in a big, big way, how much time should they commit to the presentation and to their calling scripts?
I think they need to listen to somebody that's really good at it, record it and play it 100 times on a continuous loop, have it on their cell phone, play it in the the car over and over and over. And this is why it's not first, it's internalizing the words, but that's only the start, because we'll see agents that are using the same script as somebody who's setting 4 appointments a day, and they said 0 because of cadence and pacing and mirroring matching, or the lack thereof.
So let's say right here, I want you to you guys should go back and rewind that. So, because he just nailed it. You know how you guys asked me, Brandon, you're coaching another agent in my market. How can I win when they're using the same strategy that I am? Well, it's not the what. I cannot stress this enough. It's not what you say. It's all about how you say what you say. This is why when I call in your guys' market with you and I use the same script that I give you guys, I get a completely different result. That's when we talk about skills. So practicing, if you're going to really win in this business, I thought about this morning on my walk, actually. You know how we talk a lot about value proposition and what you're going to offer to get listings? I believe the number one value proposition an agent can bring to the table is your skill set, not just sales skills, but your skills to know the market, your skills to deliver the presentation, to deliver the information. Your skills, I believe, are more important than any of your flexible commission programs or any of your savvy seller programs or anything you can offer. I think the skills are the number one thing that a seller looks for. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. The skill to negotiate the contract, to walk the price up, to handle multiple offers, and to get them that extra $50,000 above list price. All the skills.
Yeah. All right. So the other thing we talked about at lunch, which I thought was a really cool concept that I think you guys are going to get a lot of value out of, is approach. I want to talk about the approach to prospecting before we get into anything else. What I mean by that is you probably hear both of us, Ren and I, both talk a lot about making phone calls, but this is not the only way to prospect. So I think it's important for you, and I talk about something, Ren, called contact cycling. Any of our new coaching clients with us today, I want you to write down contact cycling. What I mean by that is we take door knocking, we take calling, we take direct messaging in Facebook and Instagram, we take text messaging, and we cycle through those 4 contact types to make the initial contact with a buy owner, an expired, an absentee owner, a probate, a divorce attorney, whatever the case may be. And we're going through these different approaches, but I want you to kind of share a guy that is in the lead generation business. You're seeing times change and different strategies working. Is that right?
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many ways to reach out to people.
Yeah.
You can go onto Facebook and try to initiate a video call or an audio call with a lot of your database. And a lot of those people will jump on, and you can have a personal conversation with 20 or 30 of your favorite people right away and call that a great day.
Yeah.
And make some great strides.
You know what? That's a really good point. How many of you, your primary contact source is Facebook Messenger? I know when you reach out to me, that's probably 90% of how people reach out to me right now. And then you do a video call. I mean, the chances of your pickup rates go through the roof. The point is that you can have multiple approaches to your prospecting business than just only outbound dialing. And the point is to find out what you're best at. Right. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So now we're on the phone. Okay. So what is your mindset when you're coaching agents? What is the mindset you think someone needs to have in order to set that appointment or set that listing appointment? What are you talking to yourself about? What are the affirmations? What are some maybe the skills that you think need to be focused on to actually get success through making calls? Because here's the reality. A lot of people make a lot of phone calls and never set any appointments. Right. So walk us through some of that.
Okay. Well, I mean, you certainly want to have somebody listen to your calls and coach you on it.
Yeah.
So you need to have someone who is coaching you to listen to, can you listen to my calls and tell me what I'm doing wrong? Well, it sounds like you're reading a script because you are reading it. It doesn't sound natural or whatever it may be, because it's not the words as much as the delivery. So you've got to get that down. And the copycat principle works really well.
Yeah. So let me expand on that a little bit. So this goes back to you guys. As a salesperson, listen closely. I cannot stress this enough. If you are going to be effective on the phone or at the door or through any means for that matter, you've got to know what to say. If you're thinking about what to say and Keith and I are on a phone call and I don't know what to say, All I'm doing is listening with the intent to do what? To talk. What we need to be doing is listening with an intent to understand. The script is just an outline. So before you really think that you're going to get results through outbound phone prospecting, you've got to master the scripts.
Yeah.
You need to know what to say, how to say. You don't need to worry about any of that stuff for you to start to get really good setting a lot of appointments. And then I'll make the argument, I think too many of us, once you get past that, and that's a big thing, the mirror matching. Too many of you, everyone has a different personality style, right? Ren's an analytical, I'm an expressive, okay? If I'm prospecting or if I call Ren's an expired listing, I need to listen to how Ren is communicating so I can communicate with Ren the proper way. But if you are so focused on the script, you don't know that Ren's an analytical. Go ahead. We're going to.
Yeah. And you can tell it by how they say hello. If in most cases you can tell an amiable, how does an amiable say hello? Or I could name it this way.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody answers the phone, goes, hello, what is that personality?
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably a driver.
That's a driver. If they go, hello,
it's an amiable.
Or it could be an expressive.
Yeah.
Go, hello.
There you go.
There's your amiable. So,
Yeah.
you can pick out personality styles just with one word, and you'll, ask another question. They say a sentence. Pretty soon you start getting an idea. And if you just become them, the most offensive thing is our personality.
Yeah.
And if we can make our personality disappear and talk like them or talk like their sister or their brother, if we're part of tribe, because that's
right.
how they speak. And if we can disappear and be them, they'll keep talking to us. They don't part of them doesn't want to, and then part of them does, because they're like, this sounds, I don't know why I'm comfortable with them. And then the other challenge is you have to act interested in what they have to say. You ask them a question, and then this is the part that wants to hang up. This personality wants to hang up. This is their ego. So this part's ready to hang up. And you say, so if you sold this home, where would you go next? And they say, well, we're thinking about moving down to Florida. And you go, Florida, that's exciting. And then their ego pops up and they goes, yeah, let me tell you about how we're going to move to Florida. And you start talking to their ego because you act interested. Instead of if you sold the home, where'd you go next? Florida. Okay. Which is what people do. They go, and they act like they're not interested. And this person doesn't care about me. But if you go, Florida, that's exciting. And then the ego just can't shut up. This one wants to hang up. This part of their personality wants to hang up. This part wants to keep talking to you. So keep talking to the part and show that you're interested in what they're saying.
People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That's such a good point. Enthusiasm. Your job, Melissa, when you're on the phone with somebody, is to act so interested that they have to meet with you. It's like, Keith, I just got to meet this guy. He sounds so interested. They're not used to that. This is what I tell everybody. This is going to make some of you a little uncomfortable. When you're prospecting, the people that know you the most, your family, your friends, your spouse, should not even recognize you when you're on the phone making calls because of how enthusiastic you are. Remember the point of a phone call. There's only one goal of a phone call. What is it, everybody? Everyone's screaming out loud. To set an appointment, period. Keith's the only one that screamed it. Thank you, Keith. I'm just kidding. So the point is, we're selling the appointment. How do we sell the appointment? Through enthusiasm. So I'm working a lot with some of you on this, but like Keith's very chill. He's very laid back. And so when he's on the phone, we need to bring the heat, right? So when we're talking, yes, we need to act interested. Yes, we need to bring energy. Yes, we're looking to say, okay, what type of personality style is this? So if they answer the phone and they're pissed off, get pissed off with them, not at them. With them. This is how we show strategic empathy. So you call an expired listing and they say, Tracy, you know what? I've had it. You're the 10th caller that called me this morning. I cannot believe all your realtors are calling me. Well, how do you respond to that? That's a question you guys always ask me. You simply say, you know what? I completely appreciate your frustration. If I was you, Tracy, I'd be as mad as you are. And believe me, I got to deal with all these bonehead realtors myself, and so that's exactly why I'm calling, right? And then you get into the script, okay? So the point is, to show strategic empathy, we have to be listening. And if you feel something in our reverse selling strategy, you got to say something. You can't hide behind it.
Perfect.
Right? So the call. So let's talk about some lead types, some lead strategies that you guys can be focused on. Okay. So I know a lot of you guys really are focused on that, which is great. I believe, Ren, that an agent should have no less than 3 lead pillars, and no more than 5, because I know one of the challenges that most agents have is committing to one strategy for a long enough time for them to get the result.
You got to shift through all the gears. You can't drive around first gear. You got to have 4 or 5 different sources of business.
That's right. So let's talk about some options for you guys, okay, through prospecting. So certainly all of you, and I think I made the big mistake, I don't know about you, I passed over my sphere of influence past client database for a long time. I was so focused on transactional business, I forgot about the best source of business. Look at Jen, my assistant. She's like, yep, we sure did. And it wasn't until later in my career, after I started building some maturity, that I said, wait a minute, without doing anything, Rem, I'm getting 30, 40% of my business from past client center of influence. And we don't do anything. We don't show them any love. We don't communicate with them. And so that's number one. You want to add anything on SOI?
Yeah. So, for many years, I talked to A through M.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, exactly.
And then the season started.
I know it. It's so funny. So number one, you guys, is your sphere of influence. Okay. The goal for a real estate agent, in my opinion, is to, in the beginning, you're going to have to prospect because you don't have a big enough database to supply you with the amount of closings or income that you need. So in the beginning, you've got to prospect. You got to spend time on lead generation, building the database to one day you could do 60, 80, 100 transactions a year through repeat and referral business. This is what we all dream of.
Yeah.
Right. However, until you get to that point, we have to communicate with the best part of our business, which is our sphere of influence. Okay. So let me give you a couple of ways that you guys can do that. Number one, I think that you've got to, and this is the hardest part for all of you, is you have to be in direct communication with your sphere of influence if you want them to respond. Okay. So this means text messaging, phone calls, direct messages. Okay. Every 90 days minimum. And I give you guys all a strategy in our script book on what to say at each quarterly phone call. Okay. And so right now, as we get into summer, who knows, put it in the chat, what the quarterly phone call should be about this as we go into the summer months. I'm curious because there's a specific purpose that I want them to all call with. And that is to check the AC unit. Look at you. Look at George Paul. Round of applause. This is the reason we're making a call. It's 91 degrees in Detroit today. This is unheard of. Okay. I'm sweating, I'm dripping right now. So I told you guys all the story. My HVAC company, Rem, does a great job. They call me 3 or 4 times a year and they always get my business and I always get referrals. And here I am talking to people about the company. Realtors are not great at following up with our database. And we should be, just like the insurance agent, just like the financial planner, just like the CPA, they all do a great job. That's where all the business comes from. If you guys want more business from your database, you have to communicate with them. So every 90 days, we're communicating with the database. They should all be on some type of birthday program. Okay. How many times do you guys get a birthday phone call? Maybe from grandma you do, or maybe from your parents, but they should be getting a phone call on their birthday from you, in addition to a birthday card with a $1 scratch off lottery ticket. Okay. This is a huge opportunity for you to show people how much you care on their birthday. Okay. Your database should be getting a piece of direct mail once a month. And they should be talking about the market update, something personal that's going on with your business and what the market stats are saying. Okay. And then in addition to that, they should be getting a weekly video email from all of you. Okay. A weekly video email. And then one client appreciation event per year. You could do a barbecue at your house. Okay. It's very simple, but that's pillar number one. Then we talk about what I call active sellers. Active sellers. So for sale by owners, new expired listings, old expired listings, and I'll even throw in for rent by owners in this category. Now, regardless of the business plan, I believe all of you should have that pillar in your business. You want to add something to that? Yeah.
No, I like it.
Okay. That's pillar number 2. Why? Now, listen, yes, it's the hardest business to convert, but it's the lowest hanging fruit. It's the fastest way to get a listing. It's the best way for you to sharpen your skills. Okay. And so, yes, there's a lot of competition, but it's the greatest opportunity. So that'd be a pillar number 2. Okay. Pillar number 3 is what you guys should have is some type of niche. Okay. An absentee owner, a probate, okay, downsizers, people that are in large houses with homes that are paid off, some type of niche that you specialize in, working with seniors, assisted living, things of that nature. Number 4 on the list, which is one of my favorites as well, is referral partners. For some reason, realtors don't understand this concept, but everyone that prospects you does. The insurance agent knows, okay, if I call realtors, I'll get business. The mortgage loan officer knows if I call Melissa, I'm going to get business. The title companies know if I call realtors, I'll get business. Well, why is it that we're the only industry that doesn't, we're the prey all the time? Well, you need to be the hunter. So all of you, there's a State Farm insurance agent on every corner that are writing homeowners policies for your clients right now, guaranteed. They're all working with home buyers and sellers right now, writing insurance policies. How about the divorce attorney? That divorce attorney, 80% of all divorces end up in at least 2 real estate transactions, okay? Probate attorneys, CPAs, financial planners, the list goes on and on and on and on. All of you should have 5, 10, 15 referral partners that you're getting business from. This is the best business that you guys want to work with. It's the most profitable. We charge 7% on all of our divorce listings. It takes more work, okay? So all of you guys could be doing that. And then the 5th, I would say in this market, in a low inventory, is some type of neighborhood circle prospecting, because everybody, it seems like right now, is wanting to sell, but there's a lot of relationships out there to be had. And you call around a listing with multiple offers, you'll be shocked. If you had 10 conversations, you're going to find half of them want to do the same thing, but they don't have a plan on where to go. So those would be my top 5. You could throw in I'm going to give you guys a bonus one. This is the bonus 6th that I think is a great opportunity for you guys, Keith. And that is adopting the buyer of your listings. This is a beautiful way to grow your database that no one is doing. When you list and sell a home, I promise you, look in the mirror. You guys are probably guilty of this. Realtors don't follow up with their clients. They just don't. So the same, look at, they're all laughing because they know it's true. So if you can adopt the other agent's client into your database, hey, this is Brandon. We sold you guys the house over there on Main Street. Do you have any questions about the, DTE or what cable services the neighborhood? We call this life after closing. 30, 60, 90 days after closing, you should touch that new buyer. Go visit them, throw a housewarming party.
Right. I mean, you say, I'm still in touch with the seller. So if you have a question about a paint color or what a light switch goes to or something about the house, I can get that information for you. And I want to welcome you to the neighborhood.
Beautiful.
Right. So,
and it's a gold mine. It's a gold mine. I'm still in touch with the seller is the key thing there, Ren. Thank you for that. That's referral. All right. So you want to add any lead sources?
Yeah, I want to add one because it's so overlooked and it's gold. What's interesting is we'll take a listing. It'll go under contract. We won't talk, or on the buy side too, we won't talk to them while they're pending we won't ask them for business until it closes. And then a few weeks later, we start calling them asking for business. But here's the thing, while it's pending, they will send you more referrals while it's pending than at any other time. And why aren't we asking? So let me give you the lay down of how this works. It goes under contract. Congratulations, Mr. Brown, Mrs. Brown. Now that you're under contract, Kathy, our transaction coordinator, she's the best in the business. She's going to be working very closely with you to get you from pending to close. She's the best in the business. I'll be calling you every week to make sure that our whole team is taking good care of you, and also to ask you who else that we can help. Because here's the thing, you're going to be in conversation. People are going to hear that you're moving. And they're going to tell you about their friends that are also thinking about buying or selling. Would you be willing to send them my way? Oh, we'd be sure. I'd love to. So as a listing agent, our job, or working with buyers, we have to call every one of our pendings every week and just say, I'm just calling you up to make sure that Kathy's taking good care of you. Is she? Yes. Do you have any questions? Yes. Do you know when the appraisers can be coming by? Hold on. Let me write that down. Where's the best place to reach you with that answer this afternoon? Okay, great. Now, while I have you on the phone, who else do you know that we can help? Okay. Now think about this. Once you're closed, are you allowed to call them every week and say this? No.
No, it'd be tough.
But while you're pending, you can do it. You can call them every week and you're training them. You're training them. You call them week 1, you call them week 2. I'm just make sure we're taking good care of you. Great. And then they go, by the way, who else do you know that we can help? Notice that we can help.
Yep.
Contribution. So then they go, well, you know, we were telling some friends of ours that we were moving, and they said, you know, they're thinking about doing the same thing. Great. May I reach out to them? At the end of 5 or 6 weeks and it closes, you've trained them. They know what you want now, because you called them 5 or 6 weeks in a row. And I know agents that have used this concept and added 20, 30 extra transactions a year to their business, because pendings are in those conversations.
It's beautiful. You guys, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps over here, because you're exactly right. Here's the thing. And let me have a little, let's be honest moment. Okay. I believe in my soul that most of you heard that and will never do it. That's what I believe, because we have a hard time asking for listing appointments. You start talking about asking for referrals. This is what top producers do. They ask for referrals because they do such a great job, and you get what you ask for. We've been talking about that concept in this group now for the last couple of weeks. You get what you have the courage to ask for. And here's the thing. When you start bringing up word of mouth, you start bringing up referrals, which is all what all of you want, by the way. When you start bringing that up with your clients, he's exactly right. You start to train them. There's all kinds of studies out there that says 80% of people will give you referrals if you ask, but they're not thinking about it, right? It's not their job to build your business. And so it's your job to say, listen, I grow my business. The best compliment you could ever give me, Keith, is introducing me to somebody that you care about that's also looking to buy or sell. This tells me that you put value in the work that we've done together. And it's our job and it's our goal to make sure that when we're at the closing, that you do have an amazing experience. And the weekly call, when it goes to systems, is absolutely mandatory. The updating your clients once a week, you got to do it anyway. It's such a great point. It's like circle prospecting on steroids. You use kind of the same script. Once we know, once your friends and family find out you're moving, they're all going to talk about it. Yeah. They're all going to talk about their goals for wanting to move. It's almost a guarantee.
The hit rate's really high versus your regular database. You'll get some, but the hit rate on the pendings is so high.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Now let's transition into the listing appointment. What you guys are going to find is one of the first lines in the listing appointment, based on this referral thing right now, is asking and future pacing the fact that you are going to ask for referrals. It's a beautiful thing. So up front at the listing appointment, you're going to see on the script, it says this: Keith, my goal is that at the end of this process, when I hand you a check at the closing table, that you look back over the process and say, wow, Brandon, you and your team were phenomenal. And you would feel confident and comfortable referring you to people that we care about moving forward. That is my goal, Keith. And if we can do that, is that something that you'd be comfortable with doing moving forward? And now I've just future paced the seller up front, first appointment about referrals, okay? Because here's the key thing. The faster you talk about referrals, the faster the prospect's resistance is going to go down, because they say to themselves, wow, they're talking about referrals already. They must do a good job. They must do what they say they're going to do. Otherwise, there's no way I'm going to refer this guy any business.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the listing appointment, let's talk about the listing appointment.
And they love you when you're pending anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So I'm not going to go through the entire listing appointment right now. We've got the whole script on that for you guys. But I want to talk about a couple of key things. Okay. I think that for whatever reason, we spend the least amount of time working on what I argue is the most important thing, because I make the argument, Ren, I want your opinion on this. I think that regardless of skills over the phone, if you make enough contacts, you'll get an appointment. But I think you have to have a ton of skills to convert and get a contract signed, because they're committing to such a big thing, the seller is, right? So the interesting thing when it comes to the listing appointment is, especially the last couple of weeks in our conversations, is we probably have to shift a lot of our practice time into the presentation. I just posted a live role play I did with one of our members on his entire listing presentation on my YouTube channel. You guys should go watch that. When I recommend to you guys, do your listing presentation on camera with your role play partner.
Video recorded. Yeah, you'll see the confidence or your lack of confidence in your body language. What is your body language saying?
That's right.
It's a big piece.
And it's not just the words. I want all of you to go watch that video coaching I did with Joshua later, right after this call, because you'll go through that and you say, okay, wow, he knows the script. Okay. But you'll see the feedback I give him at the end of the presentation, and you'll say, oh my gosh, that makes a lot of sense. It's all in the how. Okay. You're not going to just stand up, have your script and just read it verbatim, and the seller's going to sign the contract. Never going to happen. Okay. So you're going to notice, Jen, did we post the newer version of the script book just yet?
No, not yet. I will.
All right. So we've made we've clarified some of the scripts, because I know there's been some questions lately, but when it comes to the listing appointment specifically, we changed step 1 and step 2. Step 1 is setting the agenda. You sit down with the seller and you say, Melissa, there's really only a couple things I want to go over with you today. I want to walk you through exactly my plan to get your property sold for a premium. And then I'll break down how all the numbers work so you can get a good idea of what you're going to walk away with. And then, Melissa, at the end of this meeting, we can simply decide if working together to get the property sold makes any sense or not. Does all that seem reasonable? Right? That's how you start off every single listing presentation. You want anything to that?
I think it's a beautiful one.
Okay. So that's called your trial close. This is the first words out of your mouth. And so the seller, why do we do this? Put it in the chat. Why do we do a trial close? There's only one answer. It's to pull resistance. It's to pull the objections. That's right. That's exactly
right. And your future pacing, how this is going to go down. They've already got it in their mind. Okay, this is what its agenda is.
That's exactly
and I
right.
like that.
Yep.
Right.
And that's why we call it setting the agenda.
And you had a tie down at the end of that. So it basically is creating certainty. It's like, okay, I'm in agreement with what you've got planned.
That's right. It's beautiful. It's a great way to set expectations. Step number 2 is then when we get into discovery. So Keith, tell me, what is your biggest concern with moving? And now you allow them to throw up on you, because listen, the one listening is in control. The one talking is out of control. Remember that as salespeople, okay? I think we lose that too often. It's like, what do I say? What do I say? You don't need to say shit. You need to shut your mouth and listen. That's what you need to do. So you need to ask more questions, shut your mouth. God gave us 2 ears, 1 mouth. Shut your mouth and use your ears. That's what you need to do more of. Okay, so that's the discovery piece. Then you can get into what I believe is the most important part of the listing presentation, which is the CMA presentation and how I've taught all of you guys to do that. And once you guys can do that, then you can get into the value proposition presentation, which is the next step, followed by the net sheet presentation, which is the next step, followed by asking for the business. So it's a very straightforward, no BS way to get listings signed. You just have to figure out each step of that and be able to deliver that with absolute conviction, with absolute confidence. And you're not shaking in your boots, that it's very believable. Anything you want to add to the listing presentation? Because I want to flip to follow up.
I was looking at the format and it's perfect.
Yeah, beautiful. So let's talk about another big problem we all have, which is follow-up. We got sticky notes everywhere. You got, lipstick sign on the rear view mirror. Oh, call Bob tonight. Lead follow-up is, this is super important for you guys, is 70 to 80% of your income, contracts, appointments are going to come through lead follow-up, not the initial contact. Let's lose the obsession with, oh, shoot, I didn't get an appointment on the first contact, Ren. I suck at this. No, you don't. It's natural to build a pipeline and then your future appointments come through follow-up.
Yeah, and with lead follow-up, it's not just a check-in call. Just
That's
checking
right.
in.
Thank you.
Right. And how do you
Yeah.
have them do that?
All right. So for all of you that are new here, okay, you're going to be if you make a prospecting phone call, okay, and you don't get the appointment, we're going to go for the appointment first, okay? But only about 20% of the time are you going to get that now listing appointment on contact one. So 80% of the time, Arthur, on contact one, you need to be doing step 2 in the prospecting waterfall, which is generate a lead. When we generate a lead, what are we doing? We're putting them on the weekly MLS email, okay? So what we do in the follow-up call is we're referencing the MLS email. So Melissa, let me ask you, did you see the new house that just hit the market last night across the street and how that impacts your property? That's the follow-up call foundation. And then we're going to tie that foundation into the most important thing in selling a home, days on market. So Keith, okay, and you can tie everything back to timing, okay? When we talked before, you mentioned that you wanted to move an X time frame, or if they're for sale by owner, we talked about if you can't get the property sold in 14 days, you'd be open to giving me an opportunity to interview for the job to get your listing, okay? So that's the foundation of follow-up.
So you're bringing value to the call.
Always.
Then you're you're reminding them of their initial motivation to sell. And then you're closing after that.
That's exactly right. Yep. So that's kind of our 3-step process.
Perfect.
Now, in addition to that call, certainly there's some other things that you guys should be doing, okay? If I generate a lead, listen, you got to add them on social media. Stop trying to keep this life separate from this life, okay? Your best opportunity to convert is when a human being knows that you're a human being. So we've got to add them on Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn immediately. We have to engage with their posts and say, wow, Keith's an actual real human being. He doesn't seem like such a bad guy. You start to separate yourself from the competition. Sending them a video text. Melissa, it was great talking with you this afternoon. I'll look forward to staying in touch with you. If you need anything between now and the next time we talk, don't hesitate to give me a call. Okay, we have our weekly email. We have our weekly direct mail campaigns going through Mailbox Power. Okay, and so we have our Friday text message. We have all these things that we've taught you guys to make sure that your lead follow-up is one of the strongest pillars in your business, because most of your competitors, their lead follow-up pillar is next to nothing. I mean, it's probably the biggest hole in most realtors' businesses. And you see it more on Vulcan 7. I mean, lead follow-up is probably the biggest hole ever.
There's just no consistency. And if you're consistent in making your calls, you can put that in, just make sure it's a 5-day-a-week process.
That's right.
And you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Because it really compounds. If you're sporadic, you're like, well, I got this buyer, they're buying $2 million house. I've dropped everything.
Yeah.
Well, you've dropped everything.
Yeah.
And you go like that, and you got that one sale, and that's it. Maybe you got that one sale.
Yeah. All right. So cool. I want to save some time. I want to open this up for some questions, Jen, because listen, it's not every day that you have Ren Jones, the creator and founder of Vulcan 7, with you. And so I want to make sure that we respect his time and your guys' time. So let's open this up, because you guys have so many great questions about prospecting, about lead generation, about this or that, whatever you guys want to talk about. I want to open these up. So Jen, if you want to go through the chat, because Ren and I are sitting pretty far from the computers and it's hard to see them. Is there any questions in there that you can read out to us?
Yep,
Or if you guys have any questions, raise your Zoom hand.
I'm going to bring on Kelly. She sent a couple questions. Hold
Beautiful.
on.
Hey, Kelly.
Kelly, if you want to unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me? Is it echoing?
We got you now.
Okay, great. I just have my speakers on. I didn't know if it'd echo. My main questions were, I just feel like I'm not getting this down right. I barely have any for sale by owners or even expireds in my area, and they're all for rent by owners. And I just seem to, everyone just saying they're not interested in selling. And when I'm not exactly sure what value proposition I have to offer to get their interest in maybe hearing more about the market, because I know right now it's at the high that it's ever been, but I'm not sure if that really matters to them, because they can still keep getting rent and they believe it's going to keep going up.
What market are you in?
I'm in Los Gatos, California, in
Gotcha.
Silicon Valley.
Gotcha.
So let's talk about it. So Kelly, you emailed me, and just so you guys know, I'm going to be going live in our Facebook group at 3:30 today to answer all of your questions that came in over the weekend. So let's talk about this though, Kelly, with you. So specifically with the for rent by owner, I'm going to give you some other pieces of advice when you talk about value proposition or what to offer. Think about this for a second. Who is your home and auto insurance through right now, Kelly?
Oh, right now I'm renting, so I don't have one, but
You have auto insurance through somebody?
Yeah. I think it's just Geico.
All right, watch this. Watch this. So let's pretend for a second we're in the insurance business. And I call you, okay? And I say, Kelly, this is Brandon with State Farm. I understand your insurance is with Geico. I'm curious, if we could give you the same coverage and cut your cost by 50%, would you be open to at least hearing about it? And be honest. Now, let's bring that into real estate. You call it for rent by owner, okay? Their plan is to rent the property. Fine, great. Mr. For rent by owner. Obviously, the market in California is at an all-time high. We've never seen values this high in the history of real estate. I'm curious, if you can get an offer that's ridiculous, would you be open to at least seeing what your home would sell for? And Kelly, be honest. And so the approach is getting them to the CMA point of the conversation. Okay.
Yeah.
So in our for rent by owner script, we say, Kelly, why don't we do this? Let's not agree to anything right now. Why don't I email you over a quick price analysis to show you, to actually, so you can see how much the home would sell for. And then Kelly, you can decide if selling the home now makes more sense than renting it out. Fair enough? And so a lot of those people are going to say, okay, yeah, I guess, Kelly, let's see what you have to offer. That's the point of contention for a for rent by owner. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I haven't tried too many. I mean, I really only reached one on the phone because I wasn't sure if I had enough to offer. And I did the same kind of thing, but they said, well, I have your number and I'll call you if, that makes sense. So I didn't even get, and I didn't have his email from Vulcan 7 either. But I mean, there's so many, there's like hundreds I can go through. I guess maybe I just felt a little insecure about maybe I don't have enough to offer, because I know for sell by owners, I know that there's a lot that we have to offer and I can see the value. But for them, maybe they just want to keep getting the monthly income. And what if their home, that they're getting like a tax break from that, and maybe they don't know what to reinvest it in. So I don't need to know that. Just connect them with people.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something about, so from a guy that has many, many rental properties that have been in this business a long time, we constantly are buying and selling. Part of the strategy is the upside in appreciation. So your job as a realtor, who should be the expert in the real estate market, right? Your job is to communicate the value of these properties as they go up and down, because here's what I know. At some point, Kelly, that person is going to sell that home. It is almost a guarantee. Okay. And most of them are, if they're real investors, are buying and selling properties all the time. But I will tell you, for rent by owners, Kelly, and absentee owners, these are people that have tenants already that are not looking to rent them right now. You're going to have tens of thousands of them. You can get them right in Vulcan 7. You can just choose non-owner occupied, and you're going to see thousands of them. These people, I told everybody, I know you're a little bit newer to our system, is going to be the biggest demographic of new listings over the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay, that makes sense.
So with gold, and can I, Kelly, let's say you made that proposition to them, and they really just are begging off that we are definitely renting this out. In fact, I got somebody coming back and I'm going to sign a lease with them. You could say, I'm just curious, how many properties do you have in the area? Well, I've got 17 homes. I said, great. Do you have anything now that you might want to sell or exchange for something more lucrative? Doing a 1031 exchange. And they go, well, there's one over on Willow Glen that I'd like to get rid of. Say, great. So if you sold that one, what would you buy? Would you cash out, or would you do a 1031 exchange into something else? Well, I'd probably buy something else. Well, what's your ideal property? What's your strategy? If you had a magic wand, what is the ideal property you'd want to buy? Well, I like to spend about $400,000. I like three bedroom, 2 bath, 1 stories with 2-car garages. Typically what I buy, and I buy in this area. Great. So if I find you something like that, can I help you can I help you with that? Maybe we can work together. I can help you play some old maid, get rid of some of the ones you're ready to get rid of, and we can 1031 into something a little nicer, a little more lucrative with a little higher yield. These are investors.
Yeah.
Once you develop a relationship with these investors, you can take 10 investors that each have 20 properties. They represent 200 properties. There are people
You're right.
that just work 10 investors, and that's their whole career, because and they get to know those 10 investors, and it's a little gold mine.
We have them in our program, Kelly. We have people in California specifically that only work absentee owner markets because it's a constant, it's like a book of business. The reason why I talked about insurance with absentee owners, these people are constantly turning over properties. You can manage 10, 20 relationships and be set for the rest of your career. And he nailed it. So when someone's standoffish, Kelly, they say, nope, not interested in selling. I'm going to hang on to it. Awesome. If I run across a great deal, is it something that I should let you know about?
That's so good. So you're really probing, like, to what is their goals? What do they want? What are they looking for? And then talking about what they're wanting and working into that direction. So, okay.
Because before I let you go, remember the prospecting waterfall. We're looking for an appointment. A lot of for rent by owners, there may not be an appointment to be had. So what's the next step? It's to generate a lead. For rent by owners and absentee owners are one of the best listing lead database builders that we have. Okay. And so here's the thing. Nope, not interested in selling. Awesome. Got it. Let me ask you, at some point in the future, do you see yourself cashing in and maybe exactly to Ren's point, buying more, cashing in, doing something? That question is very easy for them to say yes to. Okay, got it. If the day comes where you need to hire a realtor, do you have someone you work with? Or would you be open to interviewing me and giving me an opportunity to earn your business? You know what, Kelly, you seem great. We'd give you the opportunity. Okay, great. Now you can put them in your database, start sending them the weekly emails, put them on your monthly direct mail campaigns. You start building that pipeline.
Okay. Yeah. Because they seem really nice, actually. The ones that actually reached,
them. No one else is calling them.
Friendly. And with the absentees, especially you isolate the absentees that live locally, because they're usually investors.
That's right.
And the absentees that live out of town, those people want to hear from you, because they're like, well, what's real estate back in?
Such a good point.
Yeah. How do you make sure that they're out of state? Because that's the whole thing. If they're local, they're kind of really up. A lot of people are agents here, but they're not really. They're just licensed.
Yeah.
And so they don't really know like what to do with it. But they're like, oh, well, I'm licensed. I'll sell it myself. But you know what I mean? They're not really experienced in it. So I wasn't sure. How do you make sure they're out of state? Can you check in Vulcan 7 how to do that?
You could see the property address versus the mailing address. Those
okay, just do the comparison.
Gives you that. Yeah.
Okay, I see that. Yeah, that's good.
Good stuff, Kelly. And then I'm going to go deep. I'm going to go deeper on your info later, just so you know. And for everybody that submitted coaching questions over the weekend, I'm going to do our normal coaching call. I'm going to do it through Facebook Live at 3:30.
Oh.
So I'm going to be going through everyone's questions. All right. We got 8 minutes. Let's go through a couple more, Jen. And then anything that I miss, again, I'm at 3:30. I'm going to be going live and answering everyone's questions in depth. Go ahead, Marco.
Hey, real quick, I'm going on a preview after this call. Strictly a preview because she's an absentee, but she's meeting me out there. She says she's already got an over ask.
Beautiful.
Like, I just want to meet her in person. I don't have materials. Do you go without materials?
Absolutely.
Okay. So
yeah, let me just add, I'll just add, the materials and the things we give you as a part of this program will help to enhance the meetings, help to enhance conversion. But you're literally just going to meet this person and using your human ability to connect with the person. Maybe you definitely need to bring a copy of your CMA. I mean, right? So that's what you would definitely want to do. But my best year in the business, and I only tell the story because of this exact thing, Jen and I didn't have any material. I had no website, no business cards, because part of it, I wanted to prove it to you guys. Part of it, I want to prove it to myself. You can list a lot of homes and not have anything. You know what I mean? Because a lot of that stuff's just distractions, and it allows us to like make up stuff in our minds of why we're not winning. Like, oh, my business card isn't sexy enough. It must be the business card why I'm not getting listings. But Marco, the point is I'd bring a quick CMA, don't go crazy, and just go meet her. And now you're going to uncover opportunities at the preview appointment. And you're going to have a nice conversation about what her goals are with the property moving forward.
And ask her a lot of questions and show that you're interested in her answers and really zero in on her pain point, echo it back to her so that she feels like this guy really cares about what I'm trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I called on Vulcan. I got a 30-minute recorded conversation with her that I'm gonna like listen to as well. And she already mentioned that she has other properties. She spends half her time in Colombia, half her time here. So
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Great.
It's a great one.
yeah,
Cha-ching.
thanks.
Yeah, you should post that call recording, Marco. If you want to do a call review on it, you just let me know.
It's half in Spanish, half in English, but I
Can't help you there. Yeah. Good luck on your appointment.
Thank you, man.
All right, let's grab a couple more, Jen. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well.
So I'm over here in Oahu, and I am brand new. I just started calling last week, Vulcan, of course, and I seem to not have problem getting preview appointments, right? I'm kind of frustrated. I don't have my business cards yet. I just put my website up like yesterday, like figured it out how to do it. And but I'm still going. I went out 3 previews, and they got CMAs. How am I gonna, I got some good stuff here, like how to convert them into a listing. So here's the thing, all 3 of them are investors, all 3 of them have properties. One's already in Vegas 2 weeks ago, and I found out from his neighbor that he wants to sell, even though he tells me he's not, he's gonna wait.
Of course.
They're all great properties. They're 500 to 1,000 to 1.2, right? Million.
Yeah.
So
Let me help you out.
all need me. Yeah.
I gotcha. So I know you're newer. I know you're newer to our system. So let me help you out. So I've designed the program to first help you get in front of people. Okay. Get that face-to-face appointment. Now you're doing that, you can be more intentional. So here's a question that you're going to want to master. Now you're going to ask it differently than I do, but here's the magic listing opportunity question. All you're going to ask with a for sale by owner, Tracy, is, listen, Bob, I respect the fact that you're selling by owner. Obviously, you're a savvy investor. You probably know what you're doing. If for some reason you can't sell the property, get the offer you want, find the best buyer, would you be open to the idea of interviewing me so I can earn your business? Okay. You can ask that a bunch of different ways, but it goes back to being intentional and asking for what you want, having the courage to ask for what you want. Because what we need to do, Tracy, is we need to bring the prospect through speaking in hypotheticals. Okay. We're talking about a future state. So I say, Tracy, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and 30 days, if for whatever reason you're unsuccessful selling the house on your own, would you be open to the idea of meeting with a realtor, looking at other options? Okay. You can ask it a bunch of different ways. A lot of the for sale by owners were going to say, yeah, sure, we'd be open to that. If we can't sell it, we'd be open to that. Okay, great. Then you can bring that even closer. Then you're going to follow that up and say, Tracy, well, let me ask you, while I have you now, if we did decide to meet and I showed you how my plan worked and it helped you get the property sold at a premium, you got the money that you needed out of the property, would you be open to at least meeting and hearing about it with me now? And be honest. Okay. This is what we have to have the courage and the confidence to do.
That's what I'm
listing
missing.
appointments today.
Yeah. That
And so-
right there is what I'm missing. Because
Yeah.
I'm getting the yes, for sure, I'll listen to you after, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
So you asked the FSBO qualifying question, and now we've got to ask the additional question on script 2.0 to get them to the point of a listing opportunity on this call.
Yeah, I'm not, I feel like I'm asking, like what you just said, like to ask for the listing, like directly, kind of,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of roundabouting it.
We're beating around the bush.
Yeah,
That's what we're doing.
yeah.
And when we do that, so first off, we have to be honest, right? We're beating around what we want. When we do that, the prospect's resistance, Tracy, grows. And the reason why most of us don't ask is because we're afraid that we're going to lose the opportunity. But it's quite the opposite. When we're not transparent with the prospect, they sense that you're kind of like, what do you really want? Like, spit it out. When we don't, we raise their resistance and we repel them. So great salespeople they're able to confront somebody in a way that doesn't come off like high pressure. That comes off very respectful, right? So you see how we do that. What you're learning in the system is to say, Tracy, I respect your decision to sell the house on your own. I'm curious if, right, hypothetically, this happens, would you be open to it? I need to see if there's an opportunity here first. When you say yes, now I've earned the right to ask for the opportunity today. Why? It serves the seller.
Right. So I'm getting that sometimes, but what about the times where like, nope, nope, I'm selling on my own. I'm selling on my own. I know we have the objection, but like, and I
So
even
here-
feel like they're lying even then,
So
actually.
watch. So nothing is as it seems. You've learned that, right? FSBO, everyone lies.
Nothing
So,
is-
so we have to level shift, right? So Tracy, just to be clear, if I was you, I'd be selling in this market as well, just so you and I are on the same page. I don't care what every Tom, Dick, and Harry realtor is calling and telling you. I believe you can sell on your own. I'm curious if, I'm saying if, and I don't believe this will be true for you, if you can't, for whatever reason, which again, I don't think will happen to you, at some point, do you look at other options or do you throw in the towel completely? The key thing here with selling over the phone, you can't put prospects on the spot first. You got to speak about hypothetically in the future. That's where they're going to open up. Then you can bring it back to current day. So you got to get really good at pushing out things into the future that they think are never going to happen. Watch, I'll give you an example. Are you in a relationship?
Yes.
You're married?
No.
Okay, so you're in a relationship, okay? Watch this. I want to prove this, okay? Let's have a little fun here. Would you break up with that person right now if I introduce you to someone better?
Totally.
Oh, wow, you're the only one that worked on with. So most people say no. And I say, well, let me ask you, if things don't go the way you want them, 30, 60, 90 days from now, we get into winter. If that at that point, would you be open to other options? That point, you might be like, yeah, I might be open to something, right? That's when we use that sales skill of speaking in hypotheticals.
And they're only saying that just to slow you down.
Yeah.
The only reason they're saying all these things is just if they gave you too many positive clues, then they're like, oh, she's going to call me every afternoon.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
Right.
you can't take the reflex no seriously.
That's exactly right. That's where we came up with nothing is as it seems. It's just like, Tracy, when you walk in the store and Ren says, how can I help you? What do you say every time without exception?
What?
When you walk into a department store,
Yeah.
and the person says, how can I help you?
you?
Just
Like-
looking,
Right.
as if you're so
Housing.
bored and so nerdy, you just were looking, and then you go to the cash register 7 minutes later with your wallet out every time.
So they know not to believe you.
Yeah.
So they just need to slow you down.
That's right.
all. That's just so don't take it personally. Then that
Right.
opens it. See, once they say that, there's this little wall here, and you can talk over the wall.
Yeah.
And it actually, when they say that, create that boundary, it allows you to continue the dialogues. So it actually feel good about the fact they did that, because now you can talk at a much better level.
Yeah, I feel like I'm at a level where I feel comfortable calling them.
Yeah.
Like right now. It's just the part where I'm gonna get the listing appointment, and you guys just gave me today, like where by next, like I'm hoping to get one or two.
Yeah,
Like,
well, and
that's
here's the thing I'll
magic.
add. Yeah, I
Open.
want you to, with the new script, essentially it's question number 2, right? And so I want to ask for it earlier on in the conversation, because we want to pull out the objections as fast as possible so we can have a real dialogue about whether or not we're going to do anything together. When we prolong the conversation for longer than it needs to be, people get more and more upset. That's when you get hung up on. So that new script, right? And I don't know if you want to role play it right now, but that new script allows you to ask for a listing appointment on question number 2. And then the rest of the dialogue's built in overcoming and responding to their concerns, or you find yourself at a listing appointment.
Right.
Now, sometimes when you're talking to a for sale owner, when they're giving you that quick pushback, it's because so many agents have been beating up on them pretty hard.
That's right.
One of the
Right.
things you can say that's very disarming is, I respect the fact that you want to try to sell it on your own.
That's
If you
right.
say that, now you keep
Love
the
it,
word
sir.
try in there. I respect the fact that you want to try to sell it on your own. And then they're like, oh, you do? Now we can talk.
Yeah, most
Yeah.
realtors are so. That's a really good point. They're not being respective. Oh yeah, go ahead. Respectful.
Okay, so specific example, previewed a place. She said, oh, I've got 5 offers. Or no, 5 people coming today. And then, oh, I've just got all these people coming. I think I'll have an open house on Sunday. I gave her a few pointers. She's like, thank me. She was grateful. I'm going to call her today. I didn't want to call her yesterday because my reason was I knew she'd be like kind of like freaked out, and I didn't want to start like all of a sudden a realtor on her. So today, call her, how did it go, any offers, and then start asking her about buyers. I don't know, but
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, now it's coaching time.
Yeah.
Knowing what we just talked about, what if you could rewind the clocks, what would you have asked her when you were on the preview appointment that you didn't ask her this time around? So let's role play it. Tracy, listen, Sunday I'm having an open house. I got 5 or 6 people coming, so right now I'm good. I think things are going really well. How are you going to respond moving forward based on what you just learned how to do?
Shelley, I'm sure you'll have no problem selling it on your own. Sounds like you're, you've got it under control. Great that you have a lot of people coming. If I could show you, if I could show you a way to.
Let me help you. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. You're missing one step.
Yeah.
Before because you're getting down on your knee and proposing right now. Before you propose, we have to do something we talked about. We've got to speak in hypotheticals. If you put them on the spot, you're asking to get smacked. You're asking to get rejected. So you have to push it out a little bit, right? So Susie, great. Sounds like you got things under control. If Sunday comes and goes and you don't get an offer for whatever reason, I'm sure you probably will, right? This is how you talk. This is how it comes across non-threatening. I'm sure you will. At that point, would you be open to meeting with me again and giving me an opportunity to share with you how I get your home sold? Because now she doesn't believe that that's going to be true. This is like, listen, it's very powerful. So you got to be careful how you use this stuff. But this is how you get people to respond to you. Well, yeah, Tracy, we'd be open to that. Okay, great. Right. Then you could pull it back to now.
Question.
Yeah.
I actually did say that to her at the preview appointment, which is why I feel very comfortable to call her. I think that exactly what you say, when you say that to them, it sometime in the future, they're so way more open to talking to you.
Absolutely. Because the thing that you and I know is that what will transpire in the future and what they think will transpire in the future are very different. We have to get out of the business of telling them about the future. We know most people are not going to succeed selling on their own. You have no business saying that. Most realtors do. Remember the rule. We have to allow them to go through the pain on their own, right? It's like the kid. You tell them not to touch the hot stove. What do they do every time? They touch the damn hot stove. It's like, dude, I just told you not to do that, dumbass. But they don't listen. FSBOs are the same way. We got to allow them to touch the stove. Now when their hands burnt off, now they want to meet with Tracy. Now their motivation's a lot higher. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really does.
Question.
Thank you.
A lot of times with a for sale buyer, you can tell they're ready to go, but they've got a couple people that might write an offer. What say you? What are they? How do you go ahead and get them to write that contract?
Yeah. I'm going to exclude, if you guys heard Ren's question, a lot of for sale by owners that are open to working with you, but they have some prospects that they're kind of thinking might come through. We write them on an exclusion. And so we take the listing, we exclude the buyers from the agreement to say, Bob, Sue, if these buyers come to fruition, we will go ahead and honor our 1% or whatever you guys are doing from a savvy seller program. But if not, I can do some of my pre-marketing so we don't lose any time. Okay. Is that fair? Is that reasonable? And typically that will be the thing that gets them over the hump.
Because that's a big piece. That's a
Huge.
big roadblock because they
Huge.
always seem to have 1 or 2 hot leads that are stopping the process.
That's right. That's right. So hopefully, Tracy, that made sense. All right. We got time, Jen, for one more, and then we'll do, I'll come back on here, you guys, about an hour and a half, and we'll finish a lot of stuff out. Go ahead, Arthur. How you doing?
What's going on, Brendan? I'm doing well. So I'm in the Austin Market Center, and you kind of already answered my question earlier, but so I'm getting a lot of listing appointments and a lot of preview appointments, and I get there, I look at the house, I show them the CMA, and then it's like, okay, cool. What was you said something as an opener when you get your listing appointment to bring out the objections? How did you phrase that?
All right. So it's part 1 of the listing presentation, Arthur. Do you have a copy of our new script book?
I I have
Here's
the
what we're gonna
LLA.
do. Jen, can you post the new script book? Arthur will tag you in our Facebook group. So let's role play this. It's called Setting the Agenda. So after I do the home tour, Arthur, you and I sit down at your kitchen table and I say, Arthur, there's really only a couple things I want to walk you through tonight. Number one is I want to show you how I plan to sell your property at a premium so that you net the most money possible. Then I'll walk you through the numbers and how it all works and the cost of selling. And then at the end of our meeting, Arthur, you and I can simply have a discussion whether or not it makes sense to work together to move forward. Does that seem fair? Does that seem reasonable? I'm getting you to agree up front that at the end of our presentation, at the end of our time together, we're going to make a decision. One way or another,
Okay.
We're going to make a decision. This allows you to bypass the I have to think it overs. This allows you to bring out objections up front at the appointment so you know what you're dealing with. And to rewind the clocks to pull those out even sooner, you can use our upfront listing agreement script.
The 2.0.
No. It's called the upfront listing contract script. These are 10 questions you ask after you set a listing appointment. And so you'll learn all of that too, but that all is going to come out on that script as well.
Okay. And then I kind of have a specific situation that I'm in, which is kind of weird.
Sure.
So I called on Vulcan. I'm using Vulcan. I called the number that's
Ben likes hearing that.
Yes, I love it. So I called the number that was the for sale by owner number. It's not the owner. It's the owner's ex-wife who is the tenant of the property and is helping him sell it.
Wow.
We got along great, a lot of rapport. I sent her a CMA. I set a listing appointment for later this week. She won't give me her husband's number, even though he's the owner. And she said, I can't make a decision, but will not give me any of his contact info.
Yeah. So this is a simple, if you feel it, say it. So you say, Sue, if you were me, what would you do? Right. So at some point, if we decide to work together, I'm going to have to bring in your ex-husband. I know that could be tough. If you were me, what would you do? How would you handle that? Because we're going to need to have him sign the listing contract in order for us to go ahead and move forward. Okay. So get it from the prospect. In reverse selling, Arthur, as you're going to learn, we want to get as much as we can from the prospect. This is where you're going to learn telling is not selling. Selling is all about asking questions, right? So we use the Socratic method to get human beings to give us the answers to everything. This is the biggest difference. This is why people feel like they're not being sold when you use reverse selling, and why people feel like they're being sold when you do a lot of telling. So when you ask questions of people that are Socratic, meaning they have to think them through to give you a good answer, right? Now they're tied into the answer and they're giving you all the things that you need to move forward. You with me on that?
Okay. Yeah. She's just really trying to play the middleman, you know? I was like, can I have his email? She's like, oh, I'll send him the CMA and tell you what he says. I'm like, can I just call him, man? Like,
did you ask her that?
Phone call. Yeah, I was like, can I just call him?
And what did she say?
Have an email. She's like, oh, well, he gets a lot of calls, so I think I'll mediate it.
All right. Now, at this point, this is everything we've been talking about being intentional. We'll end with this. We need to strengthen the approach as a salesperson to say, Betsy, I get it. I respect you. At some point, if this is going to work with us moving forward, I'll have to have a conversation with Bob. At what point do you think that should be? That's a Socratic style question. This is what litigators do that make millions of dollars, that litigate huge lawsuits, are masters of, right? So you get her to sell you on the process, and you are out of the equation completely.
So I'm not asking if I can talk to him. I'm asking at what point can I talk to him? Kind of
Not
assuming
can.
that I already can.
Should.
Or some point should I? Gotcha.
She has to do the selling, not you.
Okay.
Betsy, at some point, I'm going to have a conversation with Bob, or if we're going to go ahead and move forward. At what point should that happen? This is also giving the prospect the illusion of control. Chris Voss talks about this in his book. So you have to really understand how to do that. So how to give a prospect the illusion that they're in control. They're controlling the whole thing. You do that by asking Socratic style questions. So Betsy, when should I have that conversation? She's like, oh yeah, I'm in control. Not really. You're asking the question. You're leading her down that path. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, no worries. All right, you guys, hopefully you guys got a lot of value. We're going to post this replay. Ren, thank you so much, buddy.
Appreciate it, Brandon.
This is great. And so I'll be going back in our Facebook group here about an hour and a half. We'll continue some of these questions. This was a lot of fun. And hopefully you guys got a lot of value out of it. Any last pieces of advice for these guys and gals?
Listen to him.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great afternoon. We'll talk to you guys soon.